Hello, my name is Ryan Runcie, and this is Runcie Studios, an artist safe space and art haven. Welcome back, you guys. Thanks for tuning in. Today I'll be working on this mural here, but I'm going to be talking about family criticisms and getting critiqued by family members. That is one of the natural parts of being an artist, is that your family will see what you're creating and voice their opinion, whether you ask for it or not. We're going to dive into a little bit on how to deal with it, how much weight to give it, and when it might actually be beneficial to listen. So, dealing with family critiques. Early on, especially as a young kid, I'm pretty sure that's when it was the most detrimental for me in terms of I didn't know how to properly process that, or I didn't expect it to happen in the first place. Most actions you take in life, you don't really get commentary on. Like when you pour a bowl of cereal, no one really comments on if you pour too little or your milk to cereal ratio. Creating art feels much the same way to me, of just this is how I'm doing it today for this moment, and it's most likely going to change again next time. So don't really need anyone to comment on it. This is just something I'm doing. But it's almost like default for someone to look over your shoulder and comment what they think, or if it looks up to a certain standard in their mind. And it's kind of a subconscious thing. It's just when we see imagery, we respond to it physically or verbally. So it's not a weird thing, but we have to learn how to process it and know that if the person loves us and they mean well for us, their intent is not to hurt you. That was not what they were thinking. The main problem is that we are in our own minds, completely wrapped up in the idea that's creating the artwork in the first place. And so whenever someone else comes up and looks at it, unfortunately, they most likely don't know what we were trying to create or what we're working on. So they might call it by a different name, and it might upset you or make you mad that they can't tell what it is, nor do they respect you enough to see what you're working so hard to create. And so I know that can be pretty frustrating at times, but it happens to all of us. And one big thing that artists kind of forget is that we do this to other artists, not on purpose, but we have friends that make art. That's kind of the natural track of being an artist, is that you'll gravitate to others that are drawing because not many around you are doing it. And so when you comment on what they're working on and you're completely wrong, or to a degree even insulting, it's up to them to decide if they'll be mad at you or forgive you and merely tell you what it is. But you have to have that same grace that you allow yourself to have when you comment on art. I like to equate it to going to an art museum. There's no way you will love every artwork in the museum or in the gallery space. You will have a favorite, you will have a least favorite, but that's the part of being human. So whenever people see your work, don't take it as someone bashing you or trying to tell you what you need to be doing with your career. Understand that they're merely letting you know what they think. Sometimes their favorite artwork is not one that you put a lot of time into or a lot of thought. And that might be why it's great, is because you let it flow out of you. And sometimes it's the reverse. Something that you thought was brilliant and next level, avant-garde, everyone else thought is kind of stupid and trite. Maybe you were trying too hard. You really can never think for others. You really have to do what's best to you in that moment. And don't sit on ideas too long, because it's easy to beat an idea down. Oftentimes I find that whenever I just make the artwork, I know instantly if I want to keep making work like this, or if I'm ready to move on from this idea and it was pretty dumb after all. That's why a lot of artists make studies or smaller sketches so that you don't have to fully commit and waste higher end materials to create an artwork that actually wasn't at all what you were hoping it to be. So just be aware of that as you move forward, dealing with family critiques, dealing with critiques from yourself as well. Now let's talk about how much weight to give their criticism. Like I said early on, you're most likely going to give it a lot more weight than you wanted to. We've heard the stories of kids' drawings that were on the fridge thrown away, and they feel insulted. They feel like their parents think that their art is terrible and they should never be making art. Of course, I'm not the one to say who's allowed to feel what and when, but for me, as someone I would consider a true artist, like live and breathe this, I don't think someone else throwing away my drawing would have ever stopped me from doing what I love day in and day out. I've just thrown away or messed up too many of my own drawings to really worry about it. And usually they were nothing expensive or, I guess at the time I would have thought of as profitable being young. So I was a lot less attached to a lot of the work in terms of what happened to it after I gifted it to someone. It was always pretty cool to see art as people's backgrounds on their phone or little like slip covers in their binders back in high school days. And just being able to share my art that way and, connecting to people in a way that I guess gave me a voice that most others didn't use, but in a way it replaced my actual voice because, I don't know, I just wasn't the coolest or quickest to connect. But the same goes for family. When I'd gift them drawings and gift them just things that like were mementos that had something of value to me, and then I see that they still have it 5, 10, 15 years later. And of course, the artwork is terrible. It's so hard for me to look at that. I've pretty much wanted to recreate every one of those images. But why? That's the beauty. They love that I have loved them for a long time. They love that I've shared my gift with them for so long. Like they knew that I had room to grow. They didn't try to put me down or insult my talent for their own sake. They knew the space that I was going to grow into, and they wanted to help me get there. And so I do understand that you don't always want every moment to be a learning moment. Sometimes you just want to feel supported and appreciated for trying and expressing yourself, especially whenever it's a secret gift that you've worked on for weeks on end, all of your free time. Like, I get that feeling. All of your free time goes into an artwork. You gift it to them. And for some reason, you expected them to do cartwheels and backflips, and then a parade was going to start, and they would be crying and kissing your feet. But, they're just thankful. Sometimes they're really appreciative, and they love art and they're able to connect to it based on what's in the image. But at the end of the day, sometimes a secretive gift is more of a shock. And so it's hard for them to fully comprehend in that moment what they're getting and what it will look like. And we've all experienced getting a gift that we love, but there's no reason to scream and jump and holler. So just be aware that your expectations of their expectations also needs to be low. I understand that you want them to have low expectations of you, but again, your expectations of their expectations need to match what is healthy for you to keep creating art in a safe space that helps everyone love it and benefit from it. But that's it for now, you guys. If you enjoyed this episode, feel free to like down below, Subscribe to the channel if you want more art content. If not, that's cool too. Have a good one. To someone that can give you another perspective and help you get through some of these tougher times.